As stated in the previous episode, the Uniting Church in Australia is at the forefront of the argument for decriminalisation. They stridently claim that drug laws discriminate against drug users using the following arguments. First, they claim user rights are being trampled on. Second, and you have to be an Australian to understand the terminology here, they appeal to everyone being given a fair go. And then they state that the stigma which is associated with drug use isn't helping and that the drug laws isolate users rather than inclusively embracing them, and that they are being unfairly punished. Now, these arguments, of course, can only work by conveniently hiding the unacceptable harms inflicted on so many people around each drug user. We dealt with that in the last episode. Now, they claim that the worth and rights of users should be uppermost, while not losing any sleep about the worth and rights of those around each user who are harmed by their drug use. Of course, if you ask them, they can't name one universal human right denied to any drug user in this country, all while implying that humans have a right to use illicit drugs. Now, let's be sure there has never, ever been such a right. Conversely, there is a universal human right for children to be free from the effects of drug abuse. All of this, we must remind them, is because these drugs do unacceptable harm to much more than the user. The argument continues with this: drug users need to be given a fair go, particularly, they say, because of their vulnerability. But again, their argument works only by hiding the vulnerability of all those harmed by a drug user's dependence. Think of the neglect that drug use inflicts on so many children. Think of the harm to all of those others: the partner, the siblings, the grandparents, the friends, the workmates, the road users. What about a fair go for all of them? And then we know that decriminalisation mostly increases use amongst those under 25 years of age whose developing brains are more vulnerable than others to lifelong damage. You be the judge on the question of vulnerability here. Then they appeal to the stigma. This has been the latest favourite argument of the drug legalisation lobby over the last decade. Take a look and you'll see that they are the same ones who are arguing for decriminalisation, which is, of course, part of their incremental path to full drug legalisation. Now, next time you hear someone speak of the injustice of stigma for drug addicts, use this line of questioning. Ask them this: is alcohol dependency or alcoholism stigmatised? The answer is yes. Is the stigma because alcohol is illegal? The answer is no. Isn't it rather because of the harm and neglect caused to others by the substance? The answer is, of course, yes. So if stigma has nothing to do with the legality or illegality of alcohol, then the stigma attached to illicit drug use has nothing to do with their illegal status either, but everything to do with their harms. The logic is simple and irrefutable. And I do need to note this little issue as well. The Uniting Church is a strong advocate for the LGBT agenda, which openly seeks to stigmatise and cancel anyone who disagrees with it. Think about that. They also argue that drug laws isolate drug users from help. But here in Australia, we even have a drug user union, paid for by the government, which reaches into most drug user networks. Other government-funded programs also have an extensive reach. And then they complain that drug laws punish users rather than helping them. But in this country, we bend over backwards to get users what they need most: rehab and treatment. Using drug courts and the chance of avoiding criminal conviction to get those users out of their dependency. Our drug courts fulfill two mutual needs. They give drug users what they want, the avoidance of a criminal conviction, using the threat of a criminal conviction as a carrot for a user to commit to rehab or treatment, giving the community what it wants, less drug use in the community. Remove the criminal penalties and you remove all incentives for the change that the community needs. All of these arguments are dealt with in the final pages of the document you see here on the right, where every claim has hyperlinks linking to the evidence. Follow the instructions here on this screen to access the document. Next episode, Part 3 addresses the last of the Uniting Church arguments in favour of decriminalisation.